Hello and welcome. It is Sunday night as I record this again at the end of all my gigs. Very, very busy week/weekend. And we'll talk about kind of why I'm so tired and what's been going on and really dive into the tip this time. Let's get going. So as mentioned, it is Sunday night at the end of, it was 4 gigs this week, and very interesting ups and downs, quite the roller coaster this week actually. I had the opportunity to play at a couple new places, my second foray into the city to try to bring a portable setup with me onto public transit to a location with some misadventures I'll get into. But starting with Wednesday, I was playing at State Street Market, which is kind of a comfortable place for me to play. Good to get back there. I already have a follow-up date on the calendar. And one of the cool things was it was actually pretty quiet there. Apparently, a lot of people were out of town for spring break, supposedly. And but the people I had were engaged. Once I got the kind of idea of the request queue going, it was a really good night for me. Then on Thursday, I was playing. This is a follow-up to the farmers market gig that I did last time I turned on this camera, where a local business owner, Stephen Moore, was interested in having music outside of his shop during a wine walk in the same neighborhood. So I kind of adjusted my packing. I had better weather to go do that particular gig. And I ran into a particular challenge in that while packing everything up, I somehow did not pack my microphone. So I scrambled to try to find a microphone I could buy in the area. There was a music shop a couple blocks away, but no one was minding the store. It was really, really frustrating. So I ended up just doing busking. So I'm actually a little more vocally tired today than I usually am at the end of a week. But that was a kind of an interesting experience. But the busking was just kind of an interesting mental exercise in singing at the correct volume without the benefit of amplification. So I take that one as a failure that taught me something interesting, and they still enjoyed the music because I had the looping without any vocals. So I couldn't loop vocals, obviously. I didn't have a microphone. But I was singing at me singing to people in the room with me level, not me like a living room, not like a hall. So I wasn't really trying to project across the street or anything like that, but interesting experience. Then on Friday, I was back at my favorite recurring gig at the retirement community. That went really, really well. There was one bit of shenaniganry where I ended up starting like a couple minutes late because one of the residents was asking me to open a door that apparently was locked, I think from the outside. So I spent some fruitless time rather trying to open a door that I couldn't open to get some air flow going, which meant I was sweltering inside that room. And then Saturday, I had a little time off, started learning a song, kind of oversang a little bit, this is a thing I need to work on, which is figuring out my key without oversinging. Sometimes I kind of slip into a register that's, where I'm seeking a note and I'm in an uncomfortable part of my range. And that's usually where if I get any kind of vocal fatigue, that will kind of hit me there right away. And then today I was at Santana Row playing music at the Park Valencia area at the afternoon. I had a good but kind of stingy crowd, and in particular not very engaged. Very people were sitting and listening. The song ended, just dead silence. Even though people were enjoying the music, it was a very weird dynamic. And I had a lot of people participating in the tip jar, but they were participating in singles and sometimes pennies, which I found more amusing than annoying. And even had a guest guitarist that was a little over his skis, I think. So anyway, it was a very up and then down kind of week. And I'm going to dive right into the tip because the interesting thing about this for me is I'm going to actually lean into one of the values of my old company. So they claim at least. I'm calling this one Iterate and Improve. And The interesting thing here is that iteration is kind of a meandering path. You try things, you see what works, you make adjustments in positive and negative ways, and you find yourself at a new point, you do it again. So the path is not linear. It's not that everything is better than everything before it, but it's important to be able to take the bad with the good. And I had 4 gigs, 2 very good, 2 a little disappointing. And in one case, that disappointing gig was my own fault. I didn't have a good checklist for everything that I needed for that gig. When I go up into the city, I don't have the ability to my usual thing, which is have like a backup of everything. I can't do that. I can't like put an extra amp in my car, put an extra guitar in my car or something like that. I'm riding with what I've got with me. I did end up coming home and taking a backup microphone and shoving it into my backpack so that it should be basically impossible for me to forget specifically the microphone. Now that's one kind of failure that I need to figure out how to address other possible failures. But at any rate, it was a very I got to learn something from it. I got to learn to kind of roll with the situation I was given. I had some people enjoying the music, but not many. I think I made $25 in tips, which, considering I was playing to like a handful of people who I couldn't project to at range. At that point, if I made bus fare home, I was happy and I was fine. I was mostly annoyed at myself for making that mistake, but that's just going to happen sometimes. Wouldn't happen for a gig where I was being paid, where I had more time, because this came in really, really hot too. I think it was like Tuesday. I was asked if I could do it on Thursday. If I had a little more time, I would have probably maybe not even taken the gig, because I wasn't really part of the city's version of the city's event. I was kind of like ancillary to it, but it was still an interesting experience. And experience in, I guess, this whole adventure is kind of the thing that I'm getting right now as I begin my journey into being a full-time musician. The other one that I guess when I think about what I learned from, in a negative way, from the gig today, was really I need a better way of selling the request queue, because when people request songs, it invariably is infectious. You just need a couple people to catch on, and then it can catch fire. I don't know what it was about this crowd. I am starting to kind of think another thing I'm learning is this is another unpaid gig. And I do think I need to start retiring those pretty darn quickly, especially when I'm like a little tired. I've had a couple gigs come in actually that would have happened on days that I had gigs that I hope will be better for me for tips, because they're going to be evening gigs, but we'll see how that actually plays out. But that they were paid gigs that were offered at the same time as free gigs. And my ethical code is, if I say I will do a thing, I will do a thing, and I have the ability to do that. But what I'm holding myself to account is, if I'm uncomfortable with the fact that I'm passing down a paid gig for a free gig, then I need to stop taking the free gigs. So I'm going to see how often that ends up being a problem. I'm probably going to quietly stop doing a couple more free gigs real soon now. As the other kind of good thing that happened was, like, my calendar just blew way, way, way up. Like, I am so busy in the best way possible. I think I got at least 10 really good paid gigs booked this week. So, broadly speaking, the needle's going the correct direction, but, there are hiccups. And when I do these, part of the idea of taking requests is just maximizing and having fun and engaging the audience, but also, like, if I have an unpaid gig, how do I get the unpaid gig to kind of at least look a little bit more like a paid gig? And today it did not come to pass, but every other gig I've done requests on, it's actually gone pretty well. So I've got some thinking and some experimenting, some iteration to do to get to the place where I want that to be. And so this week is going to be, this week coming is going to be a lot of time spent. I'm probably going to be fine-tuning my presentation of my request-taking infrastructure. I'm going to be doing some laminate cards that I'm going to put on tables when I'm in an indoor space that people are at. If they want to hear music, I'm just going to put things on tables to say, hey, if you want to hear a song, just scan the thing on your table, and boom, there you go. So there's some stuff I'm going to do infrastructurally to help with that. I've got 4 gigs this weekend, 1 on Friday, 2 on Saturday, 1 on Sunday. I almost had another gig on Thursday, but that's my my mom is coming to town that day, and it's a little too much thrash, I think, basically. But having said that, in general, things are going really, really well. I feel like a full-time musician right now, and I need to kind of treat myself a bit more like a full-time musician, make sure I'm continuing to take quality gigs and, you know, just treat myself as well as I can, and with kindness when I do make mistakes, because I will make mistakes. And in fact, the next video, which I just posted a video on my other channel, posted a cover of Dreams, which just wanted to kind of get some more stuff going on there, because that's channel's going well. It's like 315 subscribers last I checked, which is great. But I want to get another video with some information on it, and I think I have a lot to tell people about how to make mistakes invisibly. I'm very good at making mistakes, but I tend to make them in a way that most mistakes, if you really know what you're looking for, you can see when I've told musicians who are watching, hey, watch when I do this, and they can see it. But if they don't know what they're looking at, if they don't realize how the looping goes or how an arrangement's supposed to look, sometimes they don't even notice a mistake, and which means the average audience member has no idea. And that's part of making mistakes musical, making them invisible, and I want to do a video about that specifically as a topic. So having said that, I'm gonna stop the recording here. So yeah, iterate and improve. Basically, it's it's not all linearly up, you know, but the iteration's the key, because broadly speaking, if I consider where I am now versus where I was in January, for instance, I knew that's even harsh. Even like September, back when I first started doing this and I had a pretty busy calendar, I feel like the quality and the direction and the number of places I'm getting to play, it's definitely going in the correct direction now. So got some more places to reach out to, some more gigs to lock down, and I'm excited. So with that, I'm gonna shut off the camera, and I hope you have a great one, and I'll see you soon.